Hello, traders. So today we're going to talk about, in our pro tip, we're going to talk about knowledge um, and how we get the knowledge of, what books we're looking for um, and how to collect and that type of thing. Now, I of course, being born in the Silver Age and collecting since I was very young, have over 40 years of experience. Um, but I am not going to claim that I know it all or can't be taught a thing or two. I do get questions um, occasionally about how do you know that? How do you know that, Thor #2 is going to be the next big book? How do you know that this character punchline is going to turn out to be anything other than just a flash in the pan? And I would like to say that it's years of experience and education and all the stuff that goes into collecting in a hobby like this, but it's not really. It's I'm smart enough to know to surround myself and to take information from trusted sources. And when I got back into collecting books almost 2 years ago, I stumbled on a YouTube channel because I wanted to look up, how do we, in this day and age, how do we, being away from it for 15 years, how do we grade our books? How do we value the books? And if I'm going to be buying and selling, how do I know what to buy and sell and trade and swap and everything that goes into that? And so I went on YouTube and I looked up, a couple. I think the search was something along the lines of hot comics or comic collecting, and just to see what was out there. And I stumbled across a few web pages. Some I still pay attention to, some I don't, because I'm not a big speculator. I have a shop, and um, I buy and sell books, but I'm not a flipper. I don't buy what's hot today and just to flip it. Um, I hold on to them for a while, and books that I think will go up or do something. I hope they do, but not always. Um, but I try to educate myself on what I'm buying for that purpose. Um, So I have found that YouTube has been indispensable in this, and there are creators that I follow on a regular basis that have helped me in this quest, and that's what this pro tip is about, knowing where to go and how to fit that into their views um, into your particular way of collecting. I'm going to speak about what I think are the top four, maybe five-ish channels for me personally, and they may not be the ones that you're interested in, or they don't collect the way that you want to collect, and that's fine. You do it the way that you feel comfortable. As an old Silver Age guy, I don't, um, I read my books. I don't collect slab copies for the personal collection. I don't. It makes no sense to me. Never will make sense to me. I do buy them to sell them to customers, and I got a lot of customers that want them. I, as most people know, I'm pretty spot on grading, and I do press my own books. Um, and these are things that I've learned through some of these channels. So, um, first of all, I'm going to do a quick shout out to a few of the channels that I do follow on a regular basis that I don't necessarily, for whatever reason, they're not in that top four or five that I'm going to highlight. Um, there's Jim Comics, Hero and the Kid, Jim Mint, Yeet, that old comic spell, and Reggie Collects. Reggie was one of the very first ones. Love the man's energy and what he brings to the table, and a very positive message not just about comics, but about life in general. Um, so the top five, we're gonna go in kind of a descending order of who I watch and why. And I would encourage you, I'm going to leave a couple of the links in the description. I'd encourage you to go take a look at what these people are doing. If you're not subscribed to their channels, please take a minute to do so. It helps support them and helps keep this content available, and keeps us all on the same page. Um, One of the newest ones that I've been following is Hero and the Kid. It's father and son team, and what I like about them is they've got a kind of a fresh view on collecting. The dad has gotten his son into collecting, and so it's really a case where you're watching the world of comic collecting through the eyes of a brand new collector, and to me, that's priceless. He's fun, he's energetic, very knowledgeable young man, and he does interviews with other content creators and artists and fitness people, and so I'm really excited about that channel, just because it gives us a fresh perspective on our hobby and um, kind of that wide-eyed when we all walked into it however many years ago when we first got started. Next, Dee Runk Comics. I found this one just recently. Uh, great, great channel for just his enthusiasm about the hobby. I really like what he brings to the table. He does a lot of, a lot of unboxings. And from what I've seen, a lot of slab books, CGC certified books. You get to see some great covers, get his take on them. Not a lot of speculating, although he's got some great keys. Just some real great information there. Next is Variant. Variant's one that I've been following from the very beginning of my journey back into this. He does things other than comics. He's done trips from Disneyland, where they're invited to this new Star Wars exhibit, Galaxy's Edge, and they went through the Millennium Falcon. It was a lot of fun to watch, and he has a way of putting you seeing things from your perspective. So, like you're experiencing this hobby through him, and very personable. Has a great setup, very polished on his videos. A lot of great information in them. One thing I really like about Variant, it seems to be really DC centric. He's a big Batman fan, and it shows. But he does these snippets that are like histories of characters. So one that I was watching today is he was talking about the Darkest Night and the evolution of that character. He also has recently done a video on the New Mutants, and he'll go into the creation of the characters and the creators that created them, and what books they appeared in, the history of their publication, and powers, and really in detail. Does a great job. So Variant is a great resource if you're looking for something to catch your interest, and or to catch up on back characters without having to track down and read all of their back issues. Of course, my number two has got to be, and this is where I got started on all this, is Comic Tom. And it's tough for me because my top two spots are really kind of right neck and neck. But Comic Tom, I know he gets a lot of flack for what he does. I don't see him as somebody that influences the market. I have often watched his videos, and he does a top 10 video, what's hot this week, and is powered by the Key Collector app, which is invaluable in finding those keys and doing your research on the fly at the comic shops. But I've never once had Tom or any person that works for Tom, either in a private conversation or on his videos, never said go out and buy this book because it's going to be hot, or this is the next big. I don't see them as promoting those books as much as just reporting on what's going on. I find him to be very impartial and extremely enthusiastic about the hobby. He surrounds himself with extremely knowledgeable people. His father, Comic Pops, is old school, at least early Bronze Age collector with a vast knowledge of books and characters and creators, and deep ties in the comic community. The Golden Age Guru knows a great deal about, of course, Golden Age books and artists and what makes those books so hot. And he's probably the most experienced convention goer that I've seen on the YouTube channel. So really excited to get his perspective on a lot of not just the Golden Age stuff, but other books that are available and the con scene. Russ, Overstreet Advisor, comic shop owner for a very long time, does a great job at giving us that perspective. From what I've seen, a very reputable dealer. He's not a gouger, just trying to make a living as a small business owner and giving respect to the community. Really appreciate that point of view. And then Fire Guy Ryan, great personality, and much like the hero and the kid, the wildebeest, Ryan is newer into it, so we get that fresh perspective. So together, the people that surround Tom on his channel do a fantastic job of giving us information and giving us a passion that I don't think you're going to find anywhere else. And they put out multiple shows and a lot of content throughout the week. They do the hot top 10, usually drops over the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, with Tom and Russ. Tom works with Jim Mint to put out a hot back issues episode, and why those books are moving up and down. And these are like the top high dollar books. We're talking the UF4s, the first appearance of Wolverine, Hulk 180, and they also do. He has a mystery mail call where he mails out books, and they do a Comic Karma show where they highlight independent books, which is such a fantastic ride. Great indie titles that we get exposed to, and we can be like, oh, that's great. That sounds like a great book. Let's read that. So he and Ryan do a show about every other Wednesday where they open up books that people send in to be redistributed to the community, and they talk about some indie books. And there's a couple other things that they do one-shots of, or semi-sporadic shows. So Comic Tom 101 has been a fantastic stopping point for me. If you're not subscribed, I highly recommend it. The next slide is really two channels. A couple of great guys, and that's why they're at the top of my list. They care about the community. They care about not just the books, but the people that read them and the creators, and the little nuances that go into them. One is I got my buddy Bob has a page, Everything Comics. He does a coffee shop video that drops, I believe it's every Sunday. And on his video, he sets up in a local coffee shop and just reviews his books for the week. He's a huge Bullseye fan, and Bullseye Bob our Daredevil fan, and Bullseye Bob will give reviews of his Daredevil books and tell you what he bought this week, what he read. He's from the Northwest in a large comic book community, where he will bring guests in that have their own YouTube channels, and they'll sit down and talk about these books, and just give us a pure collector's review. He's got a great outlook, and a deeply spiritual man that I've grown to respect a great deal. But he is kind of partnered up with Bueller, and Comics with Bueller is, right up at the top of the list. He brings probably and the reason why Bueller's right up there is because he brings what is probably the most important service to the community, in my opinion, when you're out there on the hunt trying to find books, especially new books. He does two top 10 or 2 new comic day videos. Comics come out every Tuesday, Wednesday, and he will publish a video that has absolutely every single Marvel, every single DC, Image, Scout, all the books that are available. He will run through all of the variants, let you know what he's interested in. There's no speculation. He doesn't talk about, this one's going to be worth $30 on the day it releases. He just pure gives you what the books are, what their cover price is, and let you know what to go hunting for. I watch it every single week because I want to know what I'm looking for when I go in. There's been a few times I've been like, I know that Batman comes out this week, but I didn't know that that's the cover I have to have, right? So it's extremely informative. And then he does a top 10 video, and he'll, give you 12, 13 sometimes, but we'll show you what he feels, not what are going to be the top high dollar books that week. And they're just what he is going after and what he thinks are the best looking covers or have the best stories. It's important in this day and age that, so in the last month, there's been at least one, if not 2 or 3, $35 books released on a Wednesday. And as soon as it hits the stands, $4.99 cover price, it's a $35 book. Because of that, it's so important to know what it is you're going in for and what you're looking for, especially if you're going to start getting into that speculation market. And he gives the opportunity of knowing what those books are without telling you, buy this because it's going to be worth so much. So a great perspective on the hobby. One other thing that Bueller and Bob do together is on Bueller's new comic book video where he puts out a list of every book being published for the following week, he'll ask a question. Is speculating hurting the market? Does the cover or the content of the book matter more to you? Questions like that, and then the following week on Monday they release a video, a coffee video. I believe it's filmed on Sunday, released on Monday if I'm not wrong. And it's Bob and Bueller, and they will sit down and use this as a catalyst to have that conversation, and you will learn so much more than you ever thought you did, and you will get a different perspective on it that you didn't know was there before. So if you're not following Bueller and Bob, please do. It's only going to help your comic game and give you a much broader view of what's available to you. So that's my pro tip. Follow knowledgeable people. Like I said, I'm going to put their links in the video description. Please take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. We'll have more pro tips coming up, and hopefully we'll get to the point where we can collab with some of these other people and bring out more content that's going to be helpful in your search. I want to thank everybody that's watching these, and please be kind to each other.